What's up, everybody? You know what time it is. Grab your coffee and let's talk. All right, what's up, everybody? I am MiZZ Entertainment, president of the Real Ass People Society, and welcome to Coffee Talk. So where we have bold conversations on topics that matter, serving you up one hot coffee at a time. And of course, I'm not in the place alone. Let me introduce my co-host, Sam.
What's up?
All right. And DJ Talented.
What's going on, world? This is your boy DJ Talented. And as I always say, I'm glad to be above it than under it. You dig?
You dig. We're going to move on for that one. And we got some guests in the house. Miss Lesley, she is back.
What's up?
All right. And our new guest, Miss Jessica, please introduce yourself and tell them the amazing things you are doing.
Okay. Well, thank y'all for having me. I'm Jessica Lewis, co-owner of Mobile Enterprises, where we build residential and commercial structures out of shipping containers.
And talk about what you got coming up.
What don't we have coming up? Oh my gosh. So for starters, we're about to be licensed. We're working on being licensed in all 50 states. So we're excited about that. So we start our classes in about 2 weeks. We are building a 1,060 unit mixed use apartment complex in Texas. Hopefully it didn't get flooded away. Pray for everybody in Texas because it is in that area, in Temple, Texas. And then we're working on our students doing some fantabulous projects here in the Macon, Georgia, Warner Robin, and Atlanta area. They're building duplexes and fourplexes out of shipping containers. So we're super excited to be able to bring some fire to y'all down here.
All right. Give her some claps.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
And before we get into our topic, you know, we do our temperature check. So go around the room. How have your week been going thus far? Sam?
I can't complain. My week is it's been very productive. Having, just trying to get more work and trying to, spend time with the little man.
Good for you. You gonna talk about reconnecting with your uncle?
I could.
That is exciting.
I reconnected with my uncle, who I have not really spoken with in probably 7-8 months, and had a really good, productive conversation with him. And it's been a real, he's a very disciplined person. And so I have not been as disciplined as I would like to have believed I was in the past. So I think he saw a change, and I'm hoping. I felt very seen for the first time yesterday. So yes, it was good.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Miss Lesley, how have your week been going?
The week's been going great. We had a great networking event on
I
Tuesday.
was going to say that.
Oh, goodness. We shared a lot of nuggets, and then got right to it, finishing up websites for clients, building more brands, helping more people do great things in their business. So that's it. And then we're fostering a little puppy. He's so cute. So I'm excited. But little to no sleep, but it's here.
That's all right.
That's what happens
DJ
with puppies.
Talented.
My week has been, I would say, productive. A whole lot going on. Working at night, after work, come to the office, do what we need to do here. Then church rehearsals, and so it's just a lot going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miss Jessica, how's your week been going so far?
I'm alive and above ground, so I'm winning
That
in the
is.
streets. I'm going to say that, work is plentiful. I'll say that, to say the least. And we're excited to just move into new realms with the team, hiring new people, our new partnerships we just gained this week. So we'll be able to talk about those soon once the ink dries on paper. And then we'll be able to just do even more than we desired. So really excited about this week and next week.
I told her I'm coming in as her chief of staff, so
I
just letting her know that.
Hit. Listen, Susan,
gotta-
when
you
I
gotta-
get
you
the
gotta
money,
represent.
I'm going to give it to you. How about that?
So let me go ahead and take some of that load off. Because
Yes.
she's doing all this running around.
Oh,
I
my
said, they
Lord.
have always gone.
Never here.
So let me
It's
take some of
getting
that load
slower.
off.
We praying for slow days.
No sleep.
Yes.
Soft life.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
It's coming.
Yes.
coming.
Yes.
I feel it.
Yes. My week has been good. It just, I guess, a week. I would say, just to be transparent, I was worried about our networking event because Lesley and I did, we hosted a networking event. And I was like, ooh, I don't know how this thing is going to come out, but it was quite a few people showed up, and we had some amazing conversations. So, and then just, connecting with folks. So, and I owe them, I'm looking into maybe as we grow to have a data, because it's funny because the database thing was my thing last year that I wanted for Impact. My other networking group that I actually created for the folks that has transitioned out of Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, that was the foundation, but anybody's welcome. And Lesley came and spoke at twice with us. And having a database where people can connect, just period. And that's what I wanted. So right now we working on that. We're going to start with that Google Sheet. And then as it builds, as it gets more folks, we're going to truly look into getting a database where everybody can still stay connected.
Amen.
So it was a really good event. It really was.
Congrats, you too.
Yeah, it really was a good event. And, top it off, it was Taco Tuesday, so they got amazing tacos.
Shout out to something special. They're bomb.
The tacos are good, so shout out to something special.
Yeah, I love tacos.
That wasn't what I call it,
Yes, me
pow pow,
too.
but I guess it's bang bang shrimp.
Yes. Yeah.
Pow, pow.
Bang, bang,
That's the
shrimp
nonviolent
taco
version of the shrimp.
Yeah.
Pow,
It's
pow.
like kung pao shrimp.
Yeah.
No, that's a 22 to a 45.
But it was good. It was really, really good.
That's
Which
funny.
I pivoted because that was our topic of discussion at our networking event, was pivoting. So that was the spark of this topic. So topic is relationship, love versus loyalty. So love is beautiful until it becomes a prison. Some of us are in relationships that ended years ago, but we're still performing love like it's a theater. Why do we stay? So love isn't supposed to feel like a slow death. So today let's talk about the pivot, walking away, not because you stopped loving them, but because you finally chose to love yourself more.
Wow.
That was a whole sermon.
Yes. And it also kind of reminded me of a friend of mine that's been married over 15 years that's kind of in this spot now. It's like they've grown apart. And it's like, should we stay or should we not go? Should we stay? But right now she's ready to go. She's finally choosing her, but it's like, y'all been together so long, So, so my first question is, have you ever been in a relationship that was no longer growing, but you kept showing up anyway?
So the question is, when you say showing up, are you saying just physically being there, emotionally being there, mentally?
All the above, or none of the above.
Or none of the above? Well, I can say I think I put on that front in almost every relationship. I probably should have never got in the relationship in the first place. But my crazy Captain Save-A-Ho mentality thought that, oh, he has so much potential, or, oh, that's not a real red flag. Just being ignorant to my own standard.
Not
I would
choosing
say.
you.
Not choosing me. And got into situations that I should not have been in. Majority of my life I've been single, believe it or not. Every time I get into a relationship, I lose all of me. I give so much. Like, it's almost like I don't even know who I am no more. And so for me, when I begin to choose me is when it starts to be a problem. Because now, let's just say I people please that whole relationship. When I was tired of people pleasing, I was doing the exact opposite. I was doing anything to provoke the person. I remember, let's have a funny moment. So I remember I was engaged to be married. He and I lived together a week after we started dating. So some
wow.
people say probably wasn't the best decision making, but who cares? We're young, we was dumb.
Right.
So we moved in a week after we started dating because I'm like, man, we're here with each other every day. So I'm always coming to your mom's house or you're always coming to my... I said, might as well just live together. I had just bought a house. I was young. I was living my best life. I didn't even care. So everything was all good. We were living together. But he eventually cheated because he had his own insecurity issues. We met in a weird dynamic. So I met him because I used to come to his store where he was an armed security guard at. So they considered that commingling with customers, so they fired him. So now I felt like it was my fault. That's when I said, you know what? Maybe you should just come live with me. We could figure out this financial thing together. And so that didn't work out. That was another foolish mistake on my part. You a man, you'll figure it out. But I took responsibility of it because I'm Captain Save-A-Hoe. That's what I do.
Well, I kind of see that part too.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. And I just felt bad because I'm like, you was fine as hell and I couldn't stop talking to you, and now you got fired because of me. And like, this is foolishness. We probably didn't make the best decision. But he also didn't work directly for the store, so we didn't understand how that worked out. But the other women were mad that he didn't choose them. Like, it was just a whole scenario. So they started saying, oh, yeah, he's talking to the customers too much. They told his job, and that's how he got fired. I had to give y'all the whole context so y'all understood. So we were together for like 2 years. Even after he cheated, I gave it a couple months, and then we got back together again. Probably shouldn't have did that, but I did. I loved him, and I'm just being honest. And so probably 3 or 4 months after we got back together, he was stable. He had got all his stuff together, and maybe that separation, that's what he needed to get his own stabilization. But long story short, I couldn't take it no more, y'all. I was so mean to him. I put the ring in the cup holder and left it there and told him I didn't want to be with him no more because I found out he still was talking to other women. Like, you didn't really change your ways. And then
hit it better.
You just hit it better, but you still got caught, so you're not that good at it. You probably should quit. But I was okay with that. I had to accept that he was a cheater. I had to be okay with understanding where I fell in his life, and it was just not, I wasn't a priority. You didn't care about us. And so I came home one day, y'all, and this man took everything that belonged to him out the house. So
okay, as long as he took his stuff.
It was just his stuff. He was so petty. Every car he gave me, I just was like, but where? That sort of stuff was just, okay. He was gone. So the double-minded person says, I know you ain't leave when I wasn't here, so I could see you leave and see what you took. I don't even know if he stole nothing, to be honest with you. He could have, but at the end of the day,
you just glad he was gone.
I was happy he was gone. And I felt like during that process leading up to him leaving, I felt like I exerted myself inappropriately, not as an adult, not as an emotionally intelligent adult, where I could have had a conversation with him and just say, hey, I don't think this is working out. Maybe we can just, separate amicably. No, I was mean. You know how they say that little angry black woman, I was terrible to him. Like, I mean, I'm sure I scarred him in some ways. And when we finally had a closure conversation years later, he did express that. And I apologized on how I treated him leading up to that, but not anything else, because I wanted you to leave and you knew you were going to keep cheating, and he did continue to cheat. Like, every woman he was with after that, somehow they managed to find me on Facebook and was like, you used to date such and such. I'm like, well, how you know me? I've been with this man in years. How'd you find me? So apparently he still had my cards. They still, like,
that's crazy.
It was crazy. Sir, you could have just loved me and had me with you for the rest of your life, but instead you chose otherwise.
Yeah.
And I chose me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say I ended up marrying that. I'd say my last ex-husband. I say that is the last ex-husband, because the current one, he would never be ex.
I'm into that.
You ain't going no damn way. You stuck with me for life. I'm like a boil on your butt.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't going nowhere.
I know that's right.
The boil.
We don't like boils.
It was like the boil thing. I was like, okay. I get it.
They don't go nowhere.
Yeah, if you don't eat right.
Yeah.
Get it sucked out.
Yeah. So with him, it was like I was there because I've been married multiple times. That's like I keep going until I get it right. My daughter was a teenager. This was her last year in school. And I know how critical high school is for kids, especially being a girl. And she was going to a performing arts school, meaning there wasn't a lot of boys. So she, she's longing for, I want a boyfriend. Like, girl, trust me.
It ain't all what it's cracked up to be.
But at that age, she can't see anything, past that. And so I wanted to not disrupt as much as possible. But I was miserable. I come home, and if I see his truck there, I sit in the driveway for an hour before I even go inside, for a while, because I got to get my mind right to deal with him.
Yeah.
And it's like, at that time, it's like, how am I going to get this motherfucker out of my house?
Get crafty, that's for sure.
And then when I found how he was cheating, I was like, there we go. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus.
Show me a sign.
You're out of here, buddy. And, it was, and then I felt better. Because I was like miserable, but once I know we had an ending date, because he really didn't want to sign the papers. Like, look here, bro, I need you to go ahead on sign these divorce papers. I need you gone. He finally did. I even helped him move out to his place. Then he's like, when I got back home, he said, oh, I forgot to give you my key. Don't even worry about it. I already changed the locks. You good. And I had to go back and find me. Because as you start to really decompress and really hit now you're really by yourself again. And then it's like, I just had to find me again, because I felt like I lost me in trying to make this work, trying to be that perfect wife, trying to make sure my daughter is seeing a healthy relationship. But then when things turn ugly outside the bedroom, that's when I say, oh, yeah, you got to go, partner, because I don't want her to grow up thinking this shit here is normal. Yeah. So, but that's my spiel. But yeah, I had to go back and find me, and my reason for staying longer than what I should was for my daughter. But truly, kids are very smart. That wasn't, they recognize stuff. So, it had to hit me. That's not healthy. So for her health and my sanity, he had to go.
I don't blame you on that one. Can I ask y'all this, though? Because I hear that very commonly when people stay longer. Can kids really benefit from a person staying longer? Is there any true benefit to that?
It depends.
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. If they hide it good enough, because all the kids seeing is my parent was, the one thing with him, that wasn't her dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I had divorced her dad years ago. But that wasn't her dad. But her dad, he was there. He was, he said Lovejoy, but he still wasn't in her life like he should have been. And her stepfather was more in her life than her dad, and her dad is literally down the street.
Okay.
So, so I'm like, she don't got attached to him. So it's like, oh, now here's a disruption.
Yes.
And, and she in high school. It's like, woo. So that was just a lot. But it depends.
Okay. That's fair.
It depends.
I don't have children, so I had to ask.
Yeah, it depends.
I have a child.
Okay.
I am in the process of a divorce at the moment. I was married to my wife for 11 years, and I cheated. I did the wrong thing. But the woman that I cheated with, I am with her. And it was a very complicated story. I mentioned it on one of the other shows. My wife and I had grown apart. Her parents were. I moved from New York. I met her in New York. I mean, you want me to give you a little bit of background, or
if you want to share, sure.
I met her in New York. We were pretty tight, and then she wanted to move back to San Francisco, where her parents were. And I said, I don't want to lose you, so I'll move with you if you want that. And she said, great. And I was working at a startup, and so I moved and I lived with her and her parents for a few months, and then I ended up getting a job. But her parents were very mean to me. Were just not nice people. And I eventually found out her parents did criminal activities, like ripping off an HOA and like doing other stuff, and it caused a lot of tension. But she would, when I would tell her parents were not nice, she would be like, I don't want to get between you two. And I would be like, wait a minute. Like, if my mom ever did any, or dad ever said anything to you, I would be like, you need to check yourself in front of my wife. But she didn't do that. She was always like, that's between you two, or that's between you and my dad, or between you and my mom. But I'm like, you're letting them do this. So over the years, and then when our son was born, her dad had gotten caught and was facing jail time. And I was like, our son is going to get attached to him and it's going to be really bad. So I think we should leave. And I had family in Atlanta. So I said we should move to Atlanta, and I had gotten a job here at Georgia Tech. And so we moved here, and she was resentful of me for like 2 years. But then she got a job in the first year, and she really has made a life for herself. And we raised our son. We eventually, we survived COVID. We stayed together, and then we were in a house, and it just had gotten to a point where she continued to choose her parents over me. Her parents still were acting really nasty, and it got really bad, and we were having a lot of friction. We were arguing a lot, and I think my son saw it. Before I went astray, which is not the right move, but before I did that, we were sleeping in separate rooms for about a year. We were not physical with each other, and I had told her I wanted to be more physical with her, and she did not want to. And I said, I am not going to just live like this in my own house in a separate room downstairs, feeling like an outsider.
Yeah.
And it just did not work.
You felt like a guest in your own house.
Yeah, I did. And I said to her, I'm like, what is going on here? What is this why is this happening? And she's like, the problem is me.
Damn.
Well, and she owned it.
She did. And I said to her, I said, well, what do you want from me now? Because it's like, this is in my own head now. Like, do you just want me to be some celibate dude and being married and being trapped in a downstairs room and basically being by myself? Like, what is this? So right before my mother passed away, we had gone to see her parents. And we went to Tahoe, and they were really nasty. My mom ended up in the hospital, and she almost had passed away at that time. And her parents were really, really nasty to me. And so I said, I will never stay with your parents again. I said, if we go to California, we are staying somewhere else. Or I'm not going. She said, okay, I understand. And then literally 4 months later, she's like, I want to go see my parents. We're going to go to California. And I said, I'm not going. I told you that. And she threw up a big fight. And then she eventually was like, you could go wherever you want. First place she offered me to go was Japan. I speak Japanese fluently, and I lived there.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm not going to Japan. I'll go to New York. I had friends there.
Yeah.
And so I went to New York, and I reconnected with an old childhood friend that I had been disconnected with. And I had met his wife once, but I went up there for a business trip at work, so I really wasn't focused on anything. But when I stayed with him, I did not realize that he did not tell her that I was staying, or if he did, he planned it poorly. They had just had a new child, and he was verbally abusive to her in front of me, and really nasty. Like, he was like yelling at, we were on a ferry ride, and I watched him completely berate her and yell at her in front of all these strangers. And I was like, you can't do that. And so I eventually hung out with her. He was taking care of the daughter. Their newborn, she was like 1 or 2. And we were on this roof, and we were talking, and she was like crying hysterically to me how awful he is and how much he lies to her. And she just didn't know what to do. And I told her I was in a bad position too. And we kind of had a bit of a trauma bond. And then we ended up together. Yeah. And, but I hid it for a bit, and I didn't know what to do. But I told her that she should just run from him and not look back, because nobody should treat you like that. And I wanted to protect her. But I also didn't know what I wanted, but I knew that I wasn't happy. And so when I got back, I talked to my wife at the time. I didn't tell her everything that happened, but I said, something between us has to change, or else I'm going to make a change. And she said, okay, I will go to a therapist and I will try to figure it out. And she never did. She didn't, and nothing changed.
I think they never do.
And it just got worse. And then it was like another time her parents came to visit us, and they were really nasty to me again. And she said the same thing. It's between you guys. And my mom was dead at this time.
There's no way you coming to visit me and you nasty in my house.
In my house, telling about my stuff that my uncle helped us pay for.
Yeah.
And you didn't contribute nothing complaining about my house to me after we just moved in.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not playing that game. I told her, I said, if you say another word to me, you're going to be in a damn hotel. I said, I don't want to hear it.
That's right.
And so they did not like me. They were very nasty, continued to be. And then eventually I got another job and I was like, you know what? I'm really, really not happy. I'm going to see if I'd removed myself from this other woman who I'm dating now. I said, I'm going to just really try to work on this thing with my wife. And it didn't work. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to see if there's something really there with this other woman. So I took another trip a year later to New York. And I said, I'm going to ask her if she wants to go out to dinner and see if there's something here. And we went out to dinner, and it was a very romantic weekend. And I instantly got back and I said, we need to split. This isn't working for me anymore. And so I left. I gave her the house. I didn't take all my stuff. I said, I went and got an apartment near the house for my son so we could stay together. But then I lost my job and I was in a real bad position. So I have not signed any papers yet. So we are still technically legally married, but we are separated. I am not angry at her. I don't hate her. I do care about her well-being and I care about my son.
That's the mother of your child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will never say anything bad about her to anybody.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
But she hasn't said anything bad about, I don't think. But I have pursued a relationship with this other woman and we have gone through a lot of cycles.
Sure.
And I have told Teresa about it. And I think that this woman is more suited to be with me despite the problems I've had with her in times because we have talked through them because we're both adults.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, it has been the distance, but there's also been issues, but I could never talk this way with my ex-wife. On top of it, I was doing a lot of drugs when I was with my ex-wife because I was depressed. She was straight edge. She didn't do anything. I was smoking all the time. I was smoking, by the end of it, I was smoking about an ounce a week.
Wow.
I was so depressed. I would sit in my garage by myself, avoiding being with her. I didn't want to interact with her. It was putting my son to bed. I mean, I would try to invite her in my room downstairs. She always had an excuse not to be intimate.
She was already checked out.
She was checked out.
She was already checked out.
And so by that time, I knew that the relationship was gone, which is why I felt okay doing what I did. It wasn't the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And
But
I
it
have,
is what it
and
is.
I have apologized for it.
Yeah.
Right. Miss Lesley.
Sorry.
Well, it's okay. No, that's a lot. I've been in relationships more than I've been single. So I guess my experience has been sometimes I do linger, but you will definitely tell when your time has expired with me. Because
What does that look
that
like?
is not something that I'm going to hide. Like the movement of my being and energy is just going to be so different. So for me, like in my past relationships, yeah, there was definitely some challenges that I had to overcome. When it came to breaking up, I probably didn't communicate well. I'll never forget one of my ex-boyfriends at the time. I was going back home to Cincinnati. I hadn't been there for a while, and he had wrote me a letter. And I read the letter on the plane, and when I got back, he said, I just act different. He said, something is different, and I can't catch up. So I'm just like, hey, I don't really know what to tell you, but maybe you should move out of my apartment. Maybe you should kind of go be on your own, do your own thing. And he agreed. He was like, yeah, let's do that. And we still remained cordial. We were nice, friendly, whatever. I was talking to people, but not really like seriously dating. So it was definitely a challenge. I think a lot of times I stuck around because of family. Because I was far away from home. So originally from Cincinnati, living in Alabama, the Southern hospitality, that it always captures you. So everybody that I talked to had a great family. Their family was great. So I would stick around a little bit longer because I knew some of these relationships were going to expire when the relationship expired. So I'm like, what do I do?
Family expires.
Yeah, the family expires. You know, a lot of people say, no, we're going to be cool. We'll be cordial.
Yeah.
And it sounds really good. It really does.
Yeah.
But it typically never happens.
Yeah.
Like, it never happens. Things change. People move on. And it's great. I mean, I'm cordial.
And it becomes
now.
weird.
It becomes very weird. Because what happens when you date other people?
Right.
How do you
You
incorporate
bring
them
them
in your
around the
life?
family, right?
Yeah, like,
Well,
how does that even work?
I'll tell you something weird. My brother and his wife that I am estranged from have invited my ex-wife to stay at, and my son to stay at their house in North Carolina next week. And my ex-wife is going to do it. That's my brother.
Your brother invited your ex-wife?
My brother and his wife invited my ex-wife and my son to stay in their house, and he hasn't talked to me in about a year.
Wow. That's provocation at its finest. They trying to provoke you, but don't you fall for it.
Oh, no, I'm going to New York. I already decided I'm going to go to New York and hang out with my girlfriend.
Yeah, as you should.
But it was a real, like, you're saying it should have expired. And I even told my ex-wife, I said, I really am not comfortable with you doing this. And you know what she said?
I don't care.
She said, this is my life. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
But is that an unwritten rule that we're not supposed to stay friends with family of exes? I just want to get clarity on that.
What if I stayed with her aunt? That her aunt paid for me and didn't invite her. I think she'd be upset.
I just think maybe the dynamics of that, because I'm married now.
Okay.
I have a wife, so I am still cordial with some of my exes. We talk, we laugh. Like, one of my exes, he knew my mom recently was in town. Like, we'll talk. Like, it's just that's all it is.
Okay.
But like, I'm not like, you're not coming over to my house. Like, if I have a kickback or something like that, like if my mom was here, you lived here, you probably wouldn't see her unless that's something you all arrange. So I think it's different.
Okay.
I do think the dynamics is different. Like, would I go and see my ex's aunt? Probably not. But I would probably show up if it was a funeral. I would probably do something of that magnitude.
Yes,
okay,
that makes sense.
Maybe it's some etiquette to that. I'm just trying to understand the clarity, because everybody loves me. So, you know, the ex's mom still was keeping in contact, and you know, I didn't know. I would just eventually just stop answering, because I just feel the same way. Like, maybe we shouldn't still be talking. I'm not with your son no more. You know, I don't know how to receive the love that continues beyond that person.
It's true.
And so, I think weird.
And I think the aunt and uncle,
it gets real
that's the weird part.
I was really close with her aunt and uncle.
Okay.
But I have not, out of respect for her, reached out to them at all.
I think it's different
the petty
if you're
in me
calling
would.
to check on them.
Hey, what y'all doing?
But to check, I think I don't think there's a problem
I'm
with
just
that.
trying to be respectful of everybody. I think it's not necessarily my ex-wife, it's my brother's wife that is being disrespectful.
Right, because y'all don't get along.
Yeah.
She's being petty.
And they are being provoking.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
you're right, I'm not going to play into that, but it really bothers me. You know, I mean, my ex-wife will take my son to California to stay with her parents, who but I'm not going to talk about to do that. They'll go away for 10 days.
Yeah.
And I can't say nothing about that. I got to just sit here and work and do my thing. So I am in a position now where I may end up leaving if I don't get a real job. And I'm saying this on your podcast. I don't know why I'm saying it. I've been invited to move to New York by somebody.
Okay.
But now I think about what you were saying about this guy who moved into your house, who didn't have the job, who did but I'm a very loyal person. And I stuck it out with this woman because I wanted my son to have a stable family nucleus. But she never chose me. And I think that's why I left. If she had chosen me, what happened with this other woman would have never happened.
For sure.
And I've been in tempting situations. I worked at Warner Brothers. There was women everywhere.
Yeah.
But I know where my heart is, and I am a one-woman person. My parents were married for 35 years. I know what it looks like. The depth of a relationship goes beyond the carnal pleasure.
For sure.
Yeah. DJ Talented, you want to chime in?
Nah, I've just been in like regular relationships. Just regular ones.
What's a regular relationship?
Look, it sounds like y'all had too much drama, y'all. What you trying to say? What you trying to say over there?
No, I don't do the drama. That's one thing I never did. You want to be on some craziness, you can be on that by yourself. Not with me. I think the worst relationship I was in was with my child's mother. Because one minute she nice, the next minute, all hell break loose after my son was born. So, yeah, and I guess I was putting more into that relationship than any other relationship because of the child. So, tried to marry her twice. Situation didn't work. She thought that she can talk to me any kind of way, and I do not allow nobody to talk to me any kind of way. Don't be disrespectful. There's ways that we can talk. There's ways that we can figure stuff out. So, yeah, that was the worst one.
So let me ask this. Before you came to the realization that I'm out or whatever, did you shrink, soften, or silence any part of yourself to keep the peace?
Yes.
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 All of
Some
the above.
instances, yes.
I did.
I don't know if I shrunk.
I did. I shrank. I totally did not know who I was and what I was. I was doing really well in my career, but I felt awful every day. I felt like I was small.
Mm-hmm. Lesley?
I mean, I think I did. I think I shrunk maybe not shrunk, maybe I feel like I was silent because at that time, I don't feel like I've always been the best communicating. So maybe the attitude and the energy just really shifted in a way that, wasn't really healthy. Like,
So you wasn't verbal, but you was definitely...
I was different. Like, if I'm cooking every day, it's time out for that. Like, you're getting ready to get out of here, so you should just go. Like, figure out what you're gonna eat or whatever. Like, we're stopping that. For me, it was just stop. Like, we're not doing that.
Baby.
I think for me, it was just the whole breakup. Like, just go. I think the worst breakup I ever had was probably with my ex-girlfriend, and I will never forget. It was absolutely horrible. I had just lost my job. And I needed to move. I was a property manager at the time. The property was sold. I needed to find a job, and I found a job in Birmingham. And I'm like, I just gotta go. I'm like, can you help me move? Like, at least, like, your family is huge. Like, can you come over and help me move? And she said no. She never showed up. Thankfully, and I had a 3-bedroom, fully furnished apartment at the time. I had maintenance guys that were just amazing. They were golden. I will never forget. And I think even one of her cousins ended up coming to help. And they packed my entire truck up. And I was just in awe. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have much money at the time. I had exhausted a lot of funds being in this relationship. And it was just like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So for me, it was definitely tough. And when I got to Birmingham, she wanted to come around. She was coming up for a school conference. I'll never forget. And she's like, can I stay with you? And I was like, sure, you can. I was like, I got another room up front. You could definitely stay there. I have no beef, no harm, no judgment. I had moved on. Like, I was fine. Like, I was healing. I was thriving. Birmingham was great. Like, city life. And when she came up, she wanted to talk. And I'm like, okay, we can talk. What are we talking about? And she's like, I just want to know, can I have another chance? I said, no. I said, I've moved on. And I said, I'm talking to somebody. And that's why I'm married now. So 13 years later, here we are.
Here we go.
And I'm just, I just don't know what to say. Like, sometimes people come around a little bit too late. I do think a lot of relationships go through phases to where you have to individually grow. And I can't really nurture my marriage or my relationship right now because I got to stay in this spot for right now. Yeah. And then I can check back in. So that's one of the reasons why I say, like, I really love the relationship I'm in now because I can sit and grow by myself and it's okay. Like, I'm not going to have somebody like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You can't show up. Well, you kind of know what I have going on. So you know how I can show up and how I can be present.
And that is what's helped me with the relationship I'm in now. Mm-hmm. I had to change a lot. Mm-hmm. And she's changed a lot too. And we've been together now. Now it's been on and off, but it's been 2 years.
Wonderful.
So, like, that's why she's opening her home to me. And I'm just like, because she's like, this distance is killing me and I need a partner. And I said, I'm tired of being solo. The biggest thing with me is my son. Yeah. But I have to know that I have to put the mask on, the oxygen mask on myself, the airplane metaphor, or else I won't be good to him. I won't be good for him. And he's seen a lot. This year has been really excruciating for me. So, but I know that I'm in a better place. I'm sober. It's been 7 months.
Congrats.
Thank you. So it's been, thank you to Teresa for always talking to me and telling me to change my mindset. She gives you hard love. But no, but the truth is that, yeah, like she is very different from anybody I've ever been with this woman. She's very emotional, but in a good way, because she's very nurturing and caring, but she definitely needs someone to help she needs someone to be able to listen to her in the way she needs to be listened to, so she can grow and not lose herself, because that's her biggest fear, is to lose herself in a relationship. And so I want to cultivate her. I want her to feel held and safe.
So let me get to, so I'm going to piggyback on something you said. So we've all moved on and, you're in a better spot. So what part of you came back to life that you lost after you chose you?
Well, for me, I often lose my creativity and my voice. So some of the, I don't know if mental health is going to come up in our conversation today, but for me, I grew up in a very abusive household. So the greatest challenge I ever had was speaking up for myself. And so went to therapy, did a spiritual cleansing, did all that. So now I talk too much. However, I found that when I was in those type of relationships, I suppressed so much of my voice, because in my family household, the way we grew up is, if you didn't give that person what they want, they yell at you, they scream at you, I would get beatings, whatever, like all kind of abuse occurred. So not knowing, because people only show one side of themselves when they're in a relationship, not knowing if that could happen in that current situation, I would never get too sassy. I would never be too vocal. I would never express myself. Now I've learned to be a little bit more emotionally intelligent, recognizing who I'm with, their triggers, and understanding some of the emotional aspects of a person. So now I feel safer because of that, being able to survive all those other relationships, to be able to express myself to somebody. And if I find that that person isn't really open to that conversation, I write a letter. Because sometimes you aren't able to talk to people. It don't matter if they're calm in that moment, you're calm in that moment. Just some people aren't the talking type. And so I had to find alternative ways to be able to communicate. And for me, it's letter writing. And that way I can, even if I never send it. So let me be very clear. It may not even make it to that person, but I'll write down everything that I'm feeling. I mean, I may be crying and bawling by the time I'm finished, but I felt better. Yeah. So that gave me my peace and my therapy I needed to be able to then even continue to be around them. Nevertheless, communicate, stay in that relationship.
That's power.
Yeah. That's the only way I know now, because I feel like I haven't really been in a safe environment where I can express how I'm feeling, because I'm very emotional, of a person that will allow for me to be that open and that vulnerable. And so without crying, I just never been in that type of environment. And I feel like God is protecting me in that way. So when I'm dating people that now I can't ignore the red flags, because I've been in enough bad relationships to see when somebody doesn't really care about me, I now can recognize that and be able to address it appropriately and in the right timing. Because when you're emotional, I want to talk right now. Save the time.
Where are you gonna be? I'm gonna be where I'm at.
Yeah, catch me outside. And so even understanding how we deal with conflict is really important. So that's another thing that I gained back, knowing that part of me, knowing that if I'm that angry, like when I ain't cooking no more, if it got to that point, like we're done. Because I love to cook. Now I'm going to be starving because I'm trying to prove a point to you. You know what I'm saying? So
I learned
you just got to recognize those things in yourself, and it will help you become stronger for your next relationship. Everything that we're talking about now, those past relationships help build us up. So whoever our next mate will be, they'll be grateful because you got the strong version of me.
Yeah.
That weak version was confrontational, drama filled, and all these other things. But the strong person in me can address you and us in our surrounding and everything that's in our relationship in a way that is conducive for both of us. It's a two-way street, though. So you can't have been getting really strong and then you're dating a weak person. Like, that's just not going to work, because if they hadn't worked through a lot of their things, it's now in your relationship, everything that you worked so hard to get to, you're gonna find you're getting weakened. You're losing your power. You're losing everything and every part of you. So you're almost back in the same type of relationship, even though you recuperated from it.
Right.
So
and that's what I try to focus on with this girl. Because remember, I may have gotten out of my relationship, but she was in a very abusive relationship.
For sure.
And he continues to make her life really a hell. So I hear her, and my goal is for her to feel safe. It's more than just me, but we went through our own fights.
For sure.
Because I didn't understand her way of communicating. This is where I've come back. I have a thing where my family I grew up I'm the youngest of 5, and everybody yelled at each other. Everybody was very nasty and mean. I grew up in a very nasty, mean household. And my thing was, if someone said something to me, you say something back to let them know how you feel. How would you feel if this happened, for example? And I had said this a month and a half to like this girl. I said, how would you feel if this? And then she screamed at me and she said, don't curse me like that. And I was just like taken aback by it. And I realized at that moment, that is a
Trigger
thing
for her.
It's a trigger for her, but it's something I do subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to punish the person. It's to say, this is how it made me feel. I want you to feel how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But for the first time, I'm like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Every fight's not worth it.
But it's not worth it for you to feel like I feel. Like I used to say that to my ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would you feel if your parents treated you like this? Or how would you feel if... And then it's like, you know what? I'm not even going to put that in there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell her it doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
But that is through this new relationship that I'm more... And I'm sober. That's a big part of it. When you're like smoking all the time, I was smoking an ounce a week. When you're smoking as much as I was, you're like not fully there to process emotional issues. And so I hid them. And so to see you and to see your power, I could feel your power just by you talking. And it's really wonderful. And this woman has given me that sense to feel people's power.
So I would say the thing like you for is the creativity. I think that comes back when I'm less stressed with some dumb shit.
Yes.
Definitely. And you brought up something that hit home is your past abuse, how that plays into your view of how relationships are.
Yeah.
Because I would say for mine, my mom never had any great relationships, to be honest, that I can remember. And it's like her last husband, he was my stepfather, and he pressured her into getting married. I think it was he pressured and her sister pressured her because, you got to think about her, I guess, generation. You're supposed to be married at a young age and blah, blah, blah. And she didn't get married until she was like in her 30s. So she was an old maid. That's what her sister used to fuck with her about, you know? So, she got married to me, the first person that asked her to truly get married. And then she knew she had messed up because he went and got the Notary Public down the street and to come in and get married in the house. And then she went and hid after said I do. And if you look at the picture that was taken on when they was getting married, she knew she was not making a good decision, just the expression on her face. So it's crazy. And that is the only, I guess, him, because he was an asshole. You look up the definition, it'll be my stepfather. Here I have his
Got a picture of him like this.
Right.
Posing, happily posing.
Oh, matter of fact, in my book, Articles of Life, I call him Mr. Asshole. Yes, I broke him down in my book because he contributed to the trauma.
Yeah,
and then I would say my uncle Tuff, his TUFF. He earned every letter. TUFF. He's another one that contributed to that trauma because he was a womanizer. So he's married, but yet I've seen all these different women that he riding around in their car, bringing them around. So I didn't feel I had a lot of positive, I guess, role models. So I had to figure shit out.
Yeah.
Everything I had to figure shit out.
Yeah.
So, and then going through my own shit, I think for me, I tend to hold things in, but it's just me processing, because what I don't want to do is lash out. You know, especially if there's somebody that I care about.
Yeah, that's
so.
the part.
But then in the fact that I'm mad, everybody knows that I'm mad.
Yeah, and you know I'm mad, so don't push me harder.
Yeah.
Mr. Man, what? Go ahead.
Well, I ain't saying nothing.
That's another thing, guys. Learn how to be quiet.
It's okay.
Like
to
a fly on the wall. Like a fly on the wall.
I think silence is important in conflict management, though. So a lot of people just like, nah, I want to keep talking. I want to get the no, just take it easy for a little bit.
Just have a retreat, 24 hours.
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
revisit, because if it's getting to a point where you're not listening, I'm not listening because you're just mad. We need to take a step back.
Yeah,
and I try and exercise that. You know, we got 24 hours. I don't even want to address it. We can come back so we're calm, so we can actually think through it.
Yeah,
Men don't come equipped like that.
I'm
just letting you know.
I
That's what I'm saying. I've learned
willingly
it. I'm telling
learn.
you, I have
yeah, for
learned
sure.
it, but you have to be open to it. And I think that's where I'm at, because as a man, I've made that mistake that you three are describing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure you also have you had similar to like whatever.
So for me, like I hear you. I have the tools like now to be able to communicate a lot better during conflict, but I am the one that needs to process, similar to Teresa and as well. I need to process something sometimes. And sometimes I will say in the past, even in my relationship now, it's taken too long. Sometimes I'm processing too much.
Overanalyzing or processing?
I'm still processing.
Okay.
I'm still processing, like, this could have went this way, this could have went that way, but this is what sometimes I don't say something, sometimes I don't say enough. But also one thing that I have to always be mindful of in any type of conversation that I'm having that could slightly be, confusing or be in a gray space, which I don't like, is my tone. It's not really about what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is always going to be out of love, because that's what I'm going to omit. But sometimes it's just the tone in which I use, because I feel like you just ain't gonna stop. And I really just want you to stop. Just please stop. Give me a minute to get my mind together.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I can work through that. And granted, I've probably had, I don't know, maybe 5 conflicts in my current marriage now, but I like to be able to process and see somebody else's point of view, because sometimes I need them to tell me what the mirror looks like.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with what you say. How would you feel if? Because sometimes I need that. How do I feel? Yeah, because sometimes I need to know how it feels for you. Because when there's an empathetic part of me.
Empathy.
So therefore I can
key.
really come down off of that high.
But what happens is what I do sometimes, and what I've done in the past is, my parents are not here anymore. And so I'm still dealing with that in some way, shape, or form. Her parents are still here. They're just getting older. And so if I say to her, how would you feel if your parents weren't here anymore? I think that really is a trigger, and it's scary. It's a scary
for
thing.
her.
It's a very scary thing, and that is not the right approach.
Anticipatory grief, but guess what? It's a realistic one.
If
life has its way, if the things go as they're to be projected to go, her parents are going to pass before she does.
She does, of course. But I think to when she's already in some other state,
correct,
to not be aware of her own state, and then I put my own stuff on top of her stuff, and there's a time. But the thing is that yes, it will inevitably happen.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that she knows that she can be safe with me, and that when she does need to process, like yesterday, she's upset about her work. She was telling me something about her boss. I think her boss is a jerk, and I think her boss is setting her up. But I'm telling her certain things, and she's like, I don't want to hear that right now.
She just want to talk.
And I said,
she just want to vent.
She want to vent? And I said, okay. Meanwhile, I'm biting my lip. I'm literally going,
I'm going to catch him outside then.
I'm like, I'm going to catch this lady and I'm going to let her know what's up. Do some stone cold stuff too. But like I always tell her I'm coming, whatever I'm saying to you is coming from a point of protection for you.
Yeah.
And it's not to hurt you. But it also has to be the timing. And I probably in my past relationship had a more narcissistic approach to my own feelings, which I'm learning out of being in this new relationship, that I need to remove myself from some of these equations and think about what my feelings are doing to my partner. Whereas I didn't think about that before.
That's deep.
Okay.
I like that.
So last question, and then we're going to move on to catch these hands of understand. What lessons have you learned to bring you to the point you are today? Just let's name about, I would say this, what's one main lesson that you've learned?
There is no such thing as unconditional love. And I'm just going to leave that at that. Argue with me later.
Okay.
That's what I learned.
That's what
Without elaborating, I will elaborate.
Okay,
so,
good, because I really
like, you ain't
want
gonna let that go. So for me, I feel like there's always a limit to something that someone is going to do or not do. They're always going to. I would say that's
true.
the simplest way. There's
Yeah.
always going to be a limit. There's always going to be a boundary. There's always going to be something that someone is just not willing to accommodate or compromise for or whatever. Fill in the blank. Now, they can love you to the ends of the moon. However, there's going to be a time where they're going to tell you no.
There
And
is a
are
limit.
you going to be okay with that person saying no, setting that boundary? And I think what I've learned in all my relationships is that at times I may have tested too many boundaries, and a part of that could be just you are still trying to understand a person, but sometimes it may be provocation. You know, you may just be trying to provoke them because it's like, come on, I need some kind of emotion out of you. Like, people like drama. I was dating a guy who he felt like if we weren't arguing that I didn't care about him. And I'm like, I grew up in a verbally abusive household. Who wants to argue? That's so draining. That's the foolishness of people. And even what he mentioned about his children's mother, she may have grew up in a household where that's how mom yelled at dad. And, you know, whatever she dealt with in her past just was following her, and she tried to suppress it as long as she could. And now a baby was in the mix, and that's how she experienced it with her parents. So just not even knowing enough about your partner, or even being willing to learn more about your partner, will help you with those things. Boundaries are important, though, because I'm not going to let somebody push me so far over the edge that I die. And I felt like I've given that much in a lot of my relationships. Like, dad, dude, what you want me to die? Like, what else do you want from me? Like, some people are just never happy. And so that's what I mean by love is conditional, because there's going to be boundaries set. There's going to be things that people like and don't like, things you're going to do and not do. It's just a part of life. I think Christians would say agape love, like all-knowing love, with the God type of love. I don't know if I can love somebody like that, because that would take me back to losing so much of myself that I feel like I'm not winning in that relationship because I'm losing parts of me that I feel like I should be able to give to that person. So
Agree. I like that.
That's good.
I would say for me is making sure that my deal breakers are expressed up front. You know exactly what I'm going to put up with and what I'm not. So if you go that route, then it's not a surprise.
yeah.
No surprises. So that DJ Talented, I'll let you have the last one.
What was the question again?
What's that one big lesson that you learned?
You got to be yourself.
Okay.
Because if you don't be yourself, you being who they want you to be, and that's not gonna work.
That's not gonna last. Not gonna
Amen
last.
to that.
All right, here's my catch these hands. Understand. So just I'm gonna give you a scenario, and you guys give me your opinion on whether there needs to be some furniture moving, or are you just like, okay, I understand. So here goes. So, okay, your 19-year-old daughter comes to you and wants to talk. She informs you that she has a new boyfriend, and the new boyfriend is your best friend. Now, granted, she is grown, right?
Wait, your best friend, like your
best friend.
Is now dating your daughter.
Yes. And, things are getting serious. So, you did not know this. This is first news to you. So, do he catch those hands? Or do you like, hey, she grown, she can make her own decision?
I'm going first.
I knew you were going to go first on that one.
Get me all together. I don't want to
I'm fucking him
incriminate
up.
myself.
He getting
For
goddamn. He getting 2 pieces in a biscuit.
I'm trying to
about
tell
to
you.
fuck him clean up, nigga. That mean you been
Plotting
sitting
and
there
scheming.
plotting on my daughter.
I'm trying to tell you.
Whatever. I'm about to motherfucker. I'm about to mess you up. No, that's not a
concur.
relationship that I would ever allow.
Not.
My daughter, I'm not. Go sit your ass down. You looking at this grown ass man since you've been.
But she is grown.
But
She just
that means
turned
she
grown.
must have been looking at him prior to her being grown.
Absolutely.
And has he been looking at her
I
prior
was
to
about
her
to say
being
they
grown?
had some dealings prior
So
to this
now,
conversation.
that makes me think you're maybe a damn pedophile.
That part.
You've been looking at my daughter, so I'm about to knock about 17 teeth out your mouth.
That's all of them.
You know,
Only 17?
I'm
Only
not
gonna be
17
3
now.
left.
I'm not 17 now, so I can leave him with regret.
Because you ain't get
So
them
I'm
all.
about to fuck you up.
I want you to remember every time you look in your mouth.
Nigga,
Just beat down.
You brushing air. You're not brushing no teeth, you brushing air.
Thanks.
Jessica, because you like, oh, hell no.
I concur with him. Just because I'm not okay with the pedophile thing. And it. So technically, she's only been an adult for a year.
Yeah.
So if this is your best friend, depending on how long y'all been friends, that's how long he's been around their child.
Yes.
So that's the problem that I have.
That's supposed to be an uncle.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
a family member. And not incest family, but this is like family, and that means all these years you've been watching my daughter inappropriately. So I went all the way down the rabbit hole. You've been looking at her, you probably brushed up like how men do, touched her on her back, the back small of her back, all kind of inappropriate things. That's how far my brain would have went. So this is probably why I don't have no kids. But I'm gonna tell you, I would knock the last 3 out for you.
She woke up then like, hey, oh, hell no, wait a minute.
No, we ain't doing that.
Sam?
I don't think I would be down with it. I think I would be very, to your point, if this is my best friend and maybe I have a child at 25 to 29, I'm at my age. Now they're 19, so that's like I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
You know, late 40s. That means my friend is in their late 40s.
For sure.
And now you got like a 25, 30 year difference.
Yeah.
Nah, I see that. No, that's not gonna work. That's like, yeah, that's not gonna work. No. I mean, I'm not gonna go knock him out. I'm gonna be like, it's not gonna happen now. If he gives me flack, he's gonna catch something from me.
For sure.
But I'm gonna be like, bro, you're not doing this.
Not with my child.
Not with my child.
Yeah.
And because I think it's kind of gross to be with someone that young, that the age difference that way anyways, but to be someone that you've been around your whole life, then you start seeing, wait, were there other signs there? And then it's like, hey man, I trusted you to be around my child, and now it's time to fuck your shit up.
Oh, now you
Let's
thinking
see,
through
look.
it.
The crazy
Yeah.
thing to me is my
that
child
safety.
may have been over your house playing with your child at some point, and you may have been
That part.
stalking, touching,
See what I'm saying?
doing anything.
See how I went down the
So
rabbit hole?
boy, man, shit, boy.
Listen.
I'm going to jail.
Yeah, no.
That's funny.
All right, Lesley, what you got?
It's a no for me. Not when you're 19. I know how mature I was at 19, and it's a no. Like, it's an absolute no. So they got the teeth, I'll take the tongue.
Damn.
You
You're
take what?
gonna be mouthfulous.
Yeah. they knocked out the
You're
teeth.
gonna be
I'm
sewn
gonna take
up.
the tongue.
Like Deadpool.
That's
Like
it.
You
Deadpool.
gonna do some Deadpool stuff. I like it.
That's
It's like a
crazy.
plan to me.
All right, I guess we're in agreement that they gonna get these hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't understand
Getting
that
all
shit.
the damn
Nah.
hands. They gonna get hands.
There's no logic in that.
Foot
and everything
knee,
else.
But their
elbow.
dentist bill will be real low. They don't need any dental coverage by the time.
Nah.
I'm trying to tell you, they just go.
Yeah.
No, they get some dentures.
No, they'll
Yeah.
get some
Gonna
gold teeth.
Knock them
No,
out.
I'm gonna knock them out
Implants.
too.
Look,
They could go
snatch
grow.
the implants out.
Yeah. You got some more
One
too?
by
I
one?
got one for you.
Yeah.
I'm knocking his gums out.
Yeah.
There you go. Just put a hole in the face.
We just gonna have nose and chin.
Just nose and chin. Hold.
All this is
Matter of
gone.
fact, the chin gonna be gone. He just gonna be
Because-
top mouth.
That person is supposed to be, to your point, the uncle. It's supposed to be the help protect. And it's supposed to be your friend and partner to help protect and make sure no one does something, messed up with this girl. So why would you? Yeah, no.
How would you feel if they were older? Let's just say they were older. I have younger friends. I have friends that are in their early 30s, late 20s. So if your child was older, how would you
Older than
feel?
19.
Yeah, we're talking about, let's just say your child maybe 25, 30.
That dynamic will still remain the same for me because, again, you've known that child for
As they
far
grow.
too long. You've heard my gripes about my child. You've been in our household. To me, it's more of a violation of our friendship than it's the relationship. Like, you disrespecting me as your friend. Now you done went to my child, and now you want to even if the child is older. It's that age gap. You know what I'm
The age
saying?
gap
On
is
top
there,
of
but
the
it's-
family.
It's
Yeah.
the
But
growth.
if you have you can't have an adult best friend? Like,
Yeah,
friends that you meet as
for sure.
an adult.
I have
so
lots
maybe
of
they
them.
didn't
Oh,
grow up.
Okay,
well,
that's a
that,
good-
see, that's a different
I'm not
thing.
sure that dynamic changes for me. It's just like, that's my child. That's the dynamic I'm looking at. This is my child. This is my child. Now you're trying to date my child. I feel like it's inappropriate. It's like how you got girl code, guy code. That's like friend code or
Well,
something. I
yeah,
don't know.
but it's also the thing that, like, it depends how well you know the person. Like, when you're talking about, like, one of your childhood friends.
I said best friend.
Best friend. Okay.
So
Well,
she didn't say
not
what part of the
Oh,
life.
okay,
yeah.
okay. I didn't say child.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
a best friend. Most times, a best friend, you're not going to say that you've known someone for 3-4 years and they're your best friend.
It's possible, but
It's
still.
possible, but it's also the thing that, like, there's also the age gap. Like, me personally, I'm 45. I went on a date of, like, I would say in January, and I found out this girl was 19, and I was like, ooh, I don't want
I
any
thought
part.
you was gonna be our sugar daddy. What you
I just didn't want any
You
part
want
of
to be
that.
our sugar
You don't wanna be
daddy?
our sugar daddy?
It's not even about
No, I'm
that.
just kidding.
It's just like I can't even talk to
Yeah.
this girl.
She's
Like,
so
what
cute.
what are we talking
What
about?
do y'all have in common? Like, if you want to go
Exactly.
deeper, what does a 19-year-old have in common with somebody that's 45?
Exactly. Like,
Let's talk
she-
about the maturity. Like, it's so many dynamics.
This girl telling me
It's
Eddie
the
Murphy
friend
ain't
thing
funny.
more than
I'm
anything.
like, you crazy.
Yeah, he's the funniest
you're-
person alive.
Yeah, like, you're
Okay.
crazy. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's
Yeah.
certain things, and it's a different dynamic. Like, I personally, I was thinking about this because at my job there are younger girls, and I mean, you're right. Girls look at me, and I'm like, no. Like,
I wouldn't have
date
thought you were 45 other than you're just having gray on your
Yeah,
face.
but no, I mean, but I'm not. When I shave and I can look
Look
younger.
like a young boy, yeah.
So, but I'm like, wait a minute, no, this ain't gonna work because I talk too much. But I talk,
No, that's true.
and I can't have a conversation with you. Like, I won't go under 30. I won't go under 30.
So,
I won't date anyone under 30. That's still a 15-year difference.
my problem is with you is that friendship and my child.
Yeah.
Because even if we only been really good friends for a couple of years, that's still my child.
Yeah.
And it's just like you just don't do that.
Yeah.
You just
See-
don't do that. It's
see,
just
with
like,
me-
I have a problem with that. It just be weird, really weird.
With me, it's like, even if it's a friendship of a couple years, those couple years, have you been plotting? Did you come to me as trying to be a friend because of you seen what
Because we
my brother
actually
was
know
like?
someone.
Yeah, y'all don't know. What's
We know someone that happened to.
Yeah.
The guy,
Did he catch the hands?
no, because he took his daughter.
Took
The,
the
Out the
the
house?
guy moved in, like, supposedly something happened. He ended up moving in with the friend, and
See, I ain't
and
doing that
then
either.
he ended up
Oh yeah,
moving out and taking his daughter with him,
not okay.
Yeah,
Why
so
was
the-
he even allowing another man to be in the household with the daughter?
trying to
Good.
be a friend.
Yeah,
The friend can also give you good advice.
Yeah.
Trying
Yeah.
to be a friend. Be
It's
that
certain
Christian friend.
things. You just, the boundaries. That's just
He
the
took that
boundary.
man's daughter, and he
Yeah.
hasn't heard from his daughter.
See what I'm
Yeah.
Oh,
saying?
he has. Yeah, no.
Oh,
Now you're doing
why?
some
See,
grooming
that-
type stuff. Now
that's-
that's not okay.
That's not okay. That's
Yeah.
a really bad
But
thing.
that's what it all can turn to.
Yes.
You see, we
Yeah.
went down a rabbit hole, but that's what it can turn
Now,
to.
the child, she was what, 25? She was in her early 20s.
no, she was 21.
She was 21?
21.
Okay, but still, though, she's
How
still
old
too
was
young.
the guy?
Our age.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not
He
okay.
had a good, 15, 20 years on her.
Yeah.
Grooming.
Yeah.
He was
It's
grooming. Yeah, that's why he
That's
took
not
her.
okay.
Yeah.
That's some R. Kelly shit.
And that's
Yeah.
my concern. It's the grooming aspect of the age difference. I've dated men that were older than me when I was that age. I'm like looking at it now, like, what did you think me and you had in common? Like, if I just got out of high school, I don't have a life. I ain't done nothing yet.
Mhm.
You know, I may have had a car, like nothing adult like. You
Mhm.
know, so what is it that you would even have in common with someone of that age?
It
For a
it
man.
was really weird.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the first time I had ever, because like I said, I thought she was in her mid-20s, early 30s, but because she presented herself this way. But when
They
I found
sound
out,
mature, honey.
but when I found out how old, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I was terrified to date somebody older. My best friend told me after I got out of my last relationship, she said, "You need to date somebody older." I'm like, older? Like,
They
what
terrible.
are we talking
child.
about?
Don't do
But
it.
I mean, my spouse is older.
I say it like this: when men dating
Young girls.
younger women like that, they're there for one thing,
Yeah.
for the looks, and just to do what they need to do, and that's it.
So let's go ahead on and get to the end because we're already at 1:34.
Okay.
Oh,
We've
wow.
been
Right.
talking.
Good
I enjoy
This
y'all.
was good. This was good.
So final thoughts going around the room. Start here, Sam, and we could and then we end it on that.
All right, this was a good conversation. I just think that loyalty and love, they just got to be able to make each other feel safe, and also you have two ears and one mouth for a reason.
Mm.
All right, Lesley.
Relationships should challenge you. They're a lot of hard work, but they're definitely worth it when you find somebody you can grow with, and individually and collectively. So, listen.
DJ Talented.
Relationships, as she said, is work. So don't think you're going into a relationship and it's just going to be easy. There's some rough times in relationships where love, loyalty, and dedication is what's going to bring you through. That's my word.
All right, Jessica.
I would say focus on remaining stable within yourself, within your relationship. I think your partner deserves that. You deserve that. And if you can just find a way to not lose yourself, I think your love and loyalty will be much stronger for your partner.
Yes, my final thoughts is choose you. If you choose, like you said before, he's like that thing with the mask. You know, when you're on the plane, you got to be healthy first before you can make anybody else, or you got to be happy first before you can make somebody else happy, or be happy with somebody else. So choose you. And when it becomes work, hard, where you're losing yourself, then you need to reevaluate what's going on. All righty. So we're going to go ahead on and start ending, closing this thing out. Inspirational quote. Sometime the bravest kind of love is the one where you let go. Not because you stopped caring, but because you finally started.
Ooh.
Let me try that again.
Say it one more time.
Sometimes the bravest kind of love is the one where you let go, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally started. All right, I want to thank our sponsors, Terradome Entertainment, The Comfort Zone, TechVibe Solutions, SureHaul Logistics, and Steel River Software Solutions. Join us every week on Coffee Talk here on Terradome Entertainment. Go to Terradome ENT YouTube and catch this and other podcast shows. I am your president, MiZZ Entertainment. You can contact me at MiZZ_entertainment_ATL. DJ Talented.
DJ Talented _1 on Instagram.
Sam.
Coin Laundry 115 on Instagram.
Miss Lesley.
7, the word 7, the number 21 _ designs with an S.
Miss Jessica.
Shipping, living on all platforms. Thank y'all.
All right. As always, I'll leave you with this. Be kind to each other. Love one another. Keep God first. Thank you for joining, and we're out.
Get out of here, Phil. Yeah, that's it. Get out. Gone. Hey.
Act up, show out.
Yo, show out.
Go now, step out. You are the light.
Show that light, hey.
Fire up your life.